It doesn't matter what you call it. Stress eating, emotional eating, eating when you're bored. I think we can group all of this into one simple term. You're eating when you shouldn't. Yesterday evening on my live stream, I briefly talked about the effects of emotional eating and the cycle that it puts a lot of us through. And today I want to talk about a couple tips, tricks, and they might be things you know, they might be new to you, but maybe try it in your repertoire if you are fasting, even if you aren't fasting, and you know that you are mindlessly eating. These might help you move forward in your weight loss progress journey, fasting journey, whatever you want to call it. Number one, exercise. And I don't mean grueling exercise. I don't mean going full out unless that's what you want to do. But for me, I'll give you my personal experience on how this has helped me tremendously. When I am on the verge of wanting to break during a fast, there have been many times that I have left my apartment and I've gone for a walk. As simple as going for a walk, as simple as doing something other than being in this apartment, going outside, getting some fresh air, sit at a park, just spend some time like in fresh air, being with nature. And I know that might sound like a little cheesy, but for me, the effects on that is tremendous. I have seen myself completely forget about food just by going out and getting my mind away from being in here, thinking about food, thinking about eating. It might not be walking for you, maybe a bike ride, even if it's not outside at a mall. Do people still walk around malls? Well, probably not COVID. And with the stress of the pandemic, the stress of the elections, and whatever else is going on, I know that it's a tough time for a lot of people. I am experiencing it right now. Even though I've been consistently fasting for close to 14 months and I've lost 90 plus pounds, you guys know this story. The fact is, the last 3 refeeds I've had, I've been eating when I shouldn't. And it doesn't mean that I haven't been fasting, because I have. It's just my feeding windows usually average anywhere around 4 to 5 hours, somewhere around there. And I've been pushing it to 6, 7, 8 hours for no particular reason except to eat. So I've been struggling for the past week. And only recently have I felt like I've been digging myself out of that hole. And it feels really good. And I thought it would be a perfect time to kind of go over the things that have helped me continue on this journey. So number 2 is to just keep busy. I know that sounds really simple, but if you're in a position where you're just at home, you're sitting on the couch, you're watching TV, you're not doing anything else, there's always that temptation to want to eat. I don't know if it's just human nature in us or because we always need to be fulfilled with something, by something. I think food is a quick, easy way to fill, either those pleasures or feel fulfilled. And we need to stop associating food with pleasure all the time. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't enjoy when you eat, because I do. You guys have seen me refeed. I love to refeed. I love to be able to eat, but I also know when it's time to eat and when it's time not to eat. But I'm getting ahead of myself because that's actually the next tip. So when it comes to being busy, for me, for example, I do a lot of video editing. And there are times I'm sitting in front of this computer, and when I have a project or I have something creative going on, I can literally sit here for the entire day, not even think about food, and just stay busy with what I'm doing. And then by the end of the day, I'm so tired that I'll either just sit on the couch, I'll watch a YouTube video or 2, and then before you know it, I'm ready for bed. Watch a new TV show, watch a movie, pick up a new video game, pick up a new hobby. There are so many things that we can do with our lives instead of always eating. It doesn't mean that we can't enjoy the times that we eat, but we should know, again, we might as well move on to the next tip here, which is know when to eat and know when not to eat. You give yourself that fasting schedule. You know how many hours you should be giving yourself when it comes to eating and fasting and refeeding, and sticking to that is crucial. It's imperative to our fasting protocol. When people ask me how I do it, how I'm able to consistently fast day after day, week after week, month after month, whatever. The reason I feel like I have so much success with it is because I know when it's time to eat and I know when it's time not to eat. I always talk about having a switch. When I turn that switch on, I always mix the two up, but it can be used in either way. When I turn the switch on, I know that it's time to eat. When I turn the switch off, I know that there's no more eating in that period. It's done. I'm done. So for someone like me that has trouble with portion control, that is a more of a all or nothing kind of person, and if you are not that type of person, this might be a lot easier for you. But for me, because I work in a very all or nothing kind of mentality, and that's not with everything, but in these cases it is, telling myself that I'm either eating or not eating is simple enough for me to follow and consistently follow and do it in a way where it doesn't feel like it's awful. But maybe for some people, it might be just as simple as telling yourself that, hey, it's time to eat, or hey, I'm not eating right now. It's off the table. No matter what the circumstance, no matter what the occasion, although when there are social events, that's something for another video where you figure out the social event that's happening and then you work your way around that and you schedule for that. And sometimes having something planned ahead, like having a calendar of sorts, is helpful mentally to get through your fast. I made this analogy yesterday and it might not be the best, but I also kind of associated it to going to an amusement park. You wouldn't go to an amusement park every day and ride a roller coaster every single day, even though it might be fun. I don't know if that's really the most fun. And I know it's not the best analogy, but do you see what I'm saying? There are things that you enjoy doing in life, but you don't have to do it every single day. Going out to eat. There you go. Going out to eat, going like at a fast food restaurant or a fancy restaurant or a buffet. You don't do that every single day. But there are times you do that, and there are times you enjoy that, and that might be a system that you can use when it comes to eating as well. It's time to eat. It's time not to eat. That's it. Now, I've talked about this before, and this is going to vary from person to person depending on how you intake your food. People have different diets. People have different rules when it comes to things. But sometimes when you're hungry, all it takes is drinking something. And it doesn't always have to be as boring as water. It doesn't. For me, drinking water is fine, but it's not something that I can do on my 65s all the time or my 90s all the time. Sometimes I'll have water and I'll put Mio in it. Sometimes it's a black coffee. Sometimes it's a diet pop or diet soda, whatever you want to call it. It could be as simple as that. And having that carbonation, having a sparkling water, like a LaCroix or a Perrier or whatever else is around. Having that carbonation gives me that fullness. Now, this might be different for everybody. So you might want to see what works and what doesn't. Other people also talk about having unsweetened tea. Maybe something warm. Just trying to do something different than just drinking water all the time might be beneficial for you when it comes to fasting and extending that fast. The one thing I've talked about before is, so in my situation, if, let's say, for example, I was doing a 65-hour fast and 36 hours into my fast, I wanted to break. And I had the option of either having a diet pop or breaking. I would rather have the diet pop that has no calories. We can go back and forth about the spike in insulin. I've tested my blood sugar after having a Diet Coke and it has no effect on me. It might be different for others, but in my personal experience, I'm okay with it. I've been drinking diet pop for over a year. And it doesn't mean I have it every single day. It doesn't mean I have multiple cans a day, but it is something that I enjoy once or twice a week or during my refeeds. It's something that I have. Anyway, it's a simple and effective way to help prolong a fast. Maybe not for everybody, but for somebody like me, it's been very helpful. So the last thing I want to cover here is being mindful when you eat. And I don't mean eating super healthy. I don't mean cutting out certain macros or eating a certain way. And if that's the way you eat, that's fine. There's no set diet onto how you do this. Fasting is more of a tool to use. It's just part of the equation to continue on your progress when it comes to weight loss or better health. What I mean by mindful eating is just taking the time. For example, when I refeed, I am asking myself how I'm feeling. Like, do I feel full? Do I want something else? Am I craving something specific? And then having that and not feeling guilty about it, not feeling shameful about it, because that's something I used to feel all the time when I used to eat the way I did. And even though I eat 7,000 calories or what have you, I know that I can do that, lose weight, and repeat the process to continue to my goal. The problem I've had recently is the mindfulness of my eating kind of went out the window. Even though I was eating in my refeeding window after fasting, I extended that. And I extended it for no particular reason. There was just something about not wanting to think about what I was eating. It was old habits coming back, bad habits coming back. And I'm just so glad that even though they crept up, because we are going to have bad days. As I'm making this video right now, I've had a couple bad days this past week, and I've been trying to rectify that. And putting myself in front of this camera, giving myself that kind of vulnerability, giving myself that kind of accountability is very helpful. Might as well add that as another tip. Accountability, accountability, accountability. Post a comment. Let me know how you're doing. Find somebody that you can talk to. Talk in the comments with others. Share your stories with what's going on and your struggles. Because sometimes all it takes is a little bit of accountability, a little bit of mindful thinking when you're eating. Am I full? Do I want something more? There's just a big mentality behind it that I feel like a lot of people don't discuss. And I think it's very important with everything that we're doing here, because it's not just about fasting. It's not just about exercising. It's not just about what you eat, how you eat, but it's also the mindset, the mentality, and then taking all of those things, encompassing all of these things, putting it in one package that works for you and moving on with your life. Because at the end of the day, the last thing that you want to worry about, at least for me, the things I've been worrying about in my life have always been related to my weight and food, and I'm done with it. I'm so done with it. And even though this obviously is about my weight and food, this is an endeavor. This is different. But I don't let food control my life anymore, or at least I try not to. And hopefully, you can take these tools, past videos, everything I try to share. I'm just trying to I know it might sound like a bunch of blabbering, and I really hope it isn't. I have so many thoughts. I just want to share it, and I want to be able to help you figure it out so that you can have successes, that you can be in that position that I feel like I'm in, even though it's not 100%. I feel like I'm at a lot further point in my journey than I was almost 14 months ago.